Grew up here in Las Vegas. I was blessed to grow up with both of my parents in the home, and they instilled not only how important academics were, but also they poured God into me at a young age. You know, like every other young person, I was highly active. Sports was my thing. I really wasn't into video games or even toys. You know, I just wanted to play ball, and I played a little bit of everything. And around the time I was a junior in high school, I started kind of excelling at football and getting a lot of attention from colleges, and it looked like I would have an opportunity to play at the next level, so I put all my focus and attention on football at that point. I was recruited by a lot of West Coast schools. It's a funny story, but I tell a lot of young people just, you know, so they can always shoot high and believe in themselves, but every school that I sent my highlight recruiting film to offered me a full ride scholarship. And Fresno State was one of those schools. And when I got there, I knew right away that it was the place that I wanted to go. You know, I was able to excel not only on the field, but in the classroom. So God blessed me to be an academic All-American and to accomplish a lot of things that way. And you know, my last few years at Fresno State, I started to excel on the field, and it looked like there could be a potential opportunity to play at the next level now. One of the most instrumental aspects of my spiritual development, in all honesty, was perceived failure. I was projected to be a third or fourth round draft pick in 2002. I didn't get drafted, and it was major disappointment to me because, in all honesty, at that point, I had experienced nothing but success athletically my entire life. And so it was a humbling experience, and it didn't feel good. And for a moment, you know, I thought about, hey, well, you got your degree, just go and do something else. And God challenged me. You know, he asked me, how bad do you really want this? And for the first time, I had to look at myself and say, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. All of those things that have carried you, that you've relied upon so long, aren't here to help you this time. And so I had to rely on God. I knew that if it was going to happen, I had to draw closer to him than I ever had before, and that was a turning point for me. And you know, to make a long story short, he blessed me in a matter of 4 months from being the last person signed to the roster of the San Diego Chargers, being a six-string strong safety, to making the final 53-man roster in my second game in the NFL. I was starting. And I mean, I know that's nothing but God. One thing that I realized is that playing in the NFL for almost 10 years, it did a tremendous level of things for me. I had personal aspirations and, you know, second career plans that I wanted to accomplish, and I was chasing after those things. I was doing a lot of things, and God put a halt on it. I got a call from Faith Lutheran, a call that I was not expecting. A lot of guys that retire from the NFL, you know, there's a couple things they do. They go into coaching or they go into broadcasting, and I didn't want to do either. And so when I got the call, I came here, I told them, I said, I've never been a coach before. I know the game of football. And they said, well, we know that you're a leader, and we're confident that you can do this. And so I was scared to death about doing something like this. And frankly, it didn't fit into my plans. It wasn't what I had for myself. And when you say God's up to something, it's perfect, because he was up to something. He was doing something the entire time that I didn't see. And our theme scripture was Proverbs 16:3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. And I was deliberate about that. And I wanted them to understand that as long as we kept God first, that nothing was impossible to us. And that's how we approached everything that we did. We operated in a mode of excellence. They worked hard. They bought into the vision. I had great coaches around me, and I painted the vision that God gave me. And although fearful, every single day, you know, I preached it, that we would win. And it was far greater than winning on the field, but it was winning in life. It was being men of character, of integrity, accountability, and excellence. And ultimately, that transpired to the results that we saw on the field. And, you know, now I'm wearing a state championship ring from a guy that didn't know anything about coaching. But it wasn't me, it was God. And I can pour into these young men more than just what football is, because ultimately, 90% of them or more are not going to play football beyond the high school level. And so if all I've done is made them a better football player, then I haven't done what God is calling me to do. And so it's just a great opportunity.